こんにちは.
Welcome to the Weeb Effect. So with 2020 coming to a close and this channel kind of coming to a start, I felt it would be good to go over New Year's traditions, specifically Japanese New Year's traditions. There are a lot of New Year's traditions that are unique and special to Japan, like you won't find them anywhere else. So I thought it would be a good idea to go through them together, and let's see how many of these you may know. Osoji. Sometimes the best way to get a brand new start in the year is to do a little cleaning, which is something I should probably take a lesson from, considering that my childhood room right now is, it could be cleaner. Osoji roughly translates to deep cleaning, and this is usually some kind of like heavy duty cleaning, probably around the same intensity as spring cleaning, maybe even more so. It's a way to purify the house in order to welcome Toshigami, which is a Shinto deity who comes around this time, and to get rid of all the bad feelings and energy so you can begin again. Joya no Kane. This is probably the most famous Japanese tradition, but every year around midnight in Buddhist temples they tend to ring the bell 108 times. The number is meant to represent the 108 human desires or negative feelings. Each ring is kind of like cleaning out all the bad feelings so you can start off the new year freshly. This is also perfect for another thing that I want to mention, Hatsumode, which is the first shrine visit of the new year. Obviously, temples and shrines are from two different religions in Japan, but for Hatsumode, it does not make much of a difference since both religions tend to visit their respective temples and shrines during the same time. Hatsuhinode. While sounding very similar to Hatsumode, Hatsuhinode is the first sunrise of the new year. After all, being one of the most eastern countries, Japan is a perfect place to watch a sunrise, and it's always nice to enjoy it with others if you can. Toshikoshi soba. One of the best things to eat at the end of the year are some really good noodles. And in Japan, there is a tradition of toshikoshi soba being consumed on the last day of the year. Toshikoshi soba is a type of buckwheat noodle in a soup with various toppings such as nori, green onions, tempura, eggs, etc. You know, just gotta get some good soba in at the end of the new year. Am I right? Osachi ryori. Have you ever wondered what you wanted to eat for the first meal of the new year? Well, in Japan, this meal is eaten on New Year's Day. Osachi ryori is usually in the form of a bento box that contains a variety of different foods in it, such as meat, vegetables, eggs, rice cakes, etc. There are just so many different combinations to have. But the important thing about the meal is that the food inside the bento is supposed to symbolize different wishes for the new year, like a long life or good luck. It's also just really delicious. Kagami mochi. You may have heard of or had mochi before, which is a type of chewy rice cake, but did you know that there's a special mochi decoration associated with New Year's? Kagami mochi is made up of two round pieces of mochi and a dai, which is kind of like a tangerine or bitter orange. The two mochi discs are thought to represent the going and coming of years, while the dai is meant to represent the continuation of family for generations. Sometimes people have other variations of kagami mochi, which shows that not all kagami mochi looks alike. After the New Year period is over, this is usually cut up to make a stew later on. Nengajo. Greeting cards are popular in many countries, but they are especially important in Japan around New Year's, to the point where the mail system is at its busiest. Many people in Japan send greeting cards around January 1st to express gratitude to others and wish them good luck. A lot of them even have the animal zodiac of the new year on them. Otoshidama. So if you're like me, and your parents never know what to get you for Christmas, especially now that you're getting older, you're probably going to end up getting money, right? For New Year's, there is a tradition where adult relatives give money to children in brightly colored envelopes. It is often used to give good fortune, or in this case money, to people who do not always have the opportunity to receive it. Hanetsuki. Anyone up for some traditional badminton? Well, there's a New Year's game played with a wooden paddle or hogoita. and a shuttle known as Hane. It's different from badminton for the fact that you aren't playing with a net, and you can play by yourself or with others. Supposedly it's also a good way to keep mosquitoes away, but I'm sure it can also keep people away depending on how wild of a player you are. Karuta. While many of us enjoy playing with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, there's another card game that often gets played on New Year's known as Karuta. It's very different from the Karuta bot on Discord, for those of you who know about that addicting bot, not saying that from personal experience or anything. The main goal of any Karuta game is to determine what card is required based off of what the reader or referee reads off, and snatch it before your opponent gets to it. It's kind of more of like a matching game, I think. I've never played Karuta myself, but I recommend checking out Chihayu Furu for more info on Karuta, since that anime is supposedly based on it. Dondoyaki. The last important tradition I want to mention doesn't necessarily take place in the beginning of the New Year, but rather in the middle of January. With all the lucky items that one receives from New Year's, with like fortunes and good luck charms, it's a bad omen to throw such things in the garbage. Instead, there is a time of year for getting rid of them properly, which involves ceremoniously burning them. It's also another way that you can start off the new year fresh. Man, there are so many traditions out there, and I really feel like I didn't cover all of them. Still though, what are some New Year's traditions that you and your family tends to do? Or were there any Japanese New Year's traditions that I did not mention that you want to talk about? Or you just want to come and say Happy New Year? Because I could use some greetings. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to comment any of those below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. The last thing I want to talk about, even though it's not necessarily culturally related, is that 2021 will be a lot better than 2020. Obviously, no one can know that for sure, but we have some vaccines that are on the way. We have hope of returning to a somewhat normal way of living. And if all goes bad and we are in quarantine and we have to live in isolation, I mean, at least we still have some anime to watch. So 2020 wasn't great, but all we can do is hope that 2021 is better. So with all that said, akemashite omedetou gozaimasu, and I hope to see you guys soon. じゃあねー。